Hi, this is Adam from Beyond Medicine. If you want more updates on this, please subscribe to the channel Beyond the Golden Box. And yeah, today I'd like to talk about creation, right? Um, Now, is a big project in itself. It's like there's a lot of ingredients in it. But before I go into the ingredients extensively, what I'd like to talk about would be like what I was trying to do with it, where I was trying to go with it. And what I tried to do with creation was to create something which was my best day ever. So I broke it down and said, like, well, okay, what's my best day ever? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Okay, so I want to be open, I want to be expansive, I want to be playful, I want to be light, I want to be engaged, and I want to be creative all at once, right? Now, it's obviously easy to isolate these components individually. If we want to be stimulated, we can just have some coffee. If we want to be more playful, maybe, I don't know, we hang out with a child. But to simulate all these spaces simultaneously, I had to bring in various different frequencies and marry them all together because they represent slightly divergent energies and they don't always bond well together. But this is where the reishi mushroom comes in very useful. That's in there because that ensures that if something's too high, it brings it down. If something's too low, it brings it up. So it really helps to hold a formula together. So what does it feel like to take creation? It's like, well, you wake up in the morning in some mood, maybe good, maybe bad, maybe in between, and you take it as a creation, drop, drop, drop. And then you find that the rest of the day just opens out. It's like you're easier in the world. I find myself talking to parking guards or cashiers or people, but not just like whatever. It was like I actually kind of engaged with them like I would never do before. And I thought was, well, this is actually making me a better person, a more engaged person. But what surprised me was that all those interactions I really enjoyed, like just chatting to the woman at the checkout, at the supermarket. It's like something I normally would not do. I'd be busy, I'd be on my phone, or I would be, but then I actually get engaged in her life a little bit. And just for that 30 seconds, minute, I'd just be there in that world. And then I realized that life is made up of sequences of these moments, these minutes. And if we're totally engaged in that minute with whoever's on the opposite side of the conversation, then we really, yeah, we really live a full and active life. So this is what I've tried to do with creation, is to like literally get a substance where we're allowed to have this sequence of enjoyable events which makes up the day or the night or a life. And this is really what I've tried to do. So let me just break down what I put in it first, and then people can see where I was kind of going with it. So obviously the reishi I mentioned, the reishi is an adaptogen, so it helps stuff to adapt within us, but its main function is to be able to bring stuff down or up so that things kind of meet in the middle, which is useful when you put some of these more extreme ingredients in it. Now, for the expansiveness of the feeling of expansiveness that I wanted to do with this was the royal jelly. Now, the royal jelly is when you amplify it, which I do, put it in, it gives us this feeling of like I'm a king or a queen of my world and I'm going out there in an expansive space. Now, what I wanted to get was the feeling of that regalness or the regality without the feeling of like arrogance or like, oh, everyone must bow down to me. I didn't want that. I just wanted that sense of like self-importance, in the sense of like not obnoxious self-importance, but like I'm full with myself and I feel confident and I can go out and be expressive, um, so that nothing is a problem. And then I go out and things just happen. So then along with that, because that wasn't a complete frequency, I put the light of Jupiter. Now, the light of Jupiter is all about celebration. So when we make the light of Jupiter, we pass light from Jupiter through a telescope down into water, and this is then amplified, and then I take it now. put it in the remedy. But what came out of the light of Jupiter was a sense of I'm expanded, joyous. I feel like celebrating. Like, when they first made it, was made in Russia. They had like, oh, call the musicians. Let's bring some food. Let's break out the vodka. The sense of like celebrating just for celebrating, because without even having a reason, just the feeling, the essence of celebration. So, normally we celebrate when there's something to celebrate, but what if we could just turn on this feeling of celebration and put that in there? So in that mood, we're more inclined to engage with the world because we're kind of celebrating our existence. So those two ingredients were the component which dealt with the expansiveness. Then I put in wildflowers because I wanted the creativity. So I got the pollen from the wildflowers and I ground it up and I made a remedy from that. Now, this was literally the seeds of 1,000 South African wildflowers. So it's the pollen that was collected by the bees, and then I ground it up, I made it into a remedy, and I amplified and put it in there. Now, this represents pure creativity, the pure creativity of starting new life. And in a sense, every creative endeavor is a new beginning. And this is really what I wanted to simulate with this, the sense of like limitless possibilities, like throw 1,000 seeds in the air and watch some of them grow. We never know which of our seeds are going to grow when we plant something in the ground. But if we throw lots, we have abundance of it, and we can capture this essence of new life about to spring into form. Then we're able to really distill this essence of what it is for life to occur and the sense of creativity. So then I put in the protea flower nectar. So with this, I took the protea flower and I actually got, the nectar drips out. And if you tilt it out, you're actually able to get the nectar. It's like a sticky sap, it's what the bees use to make honey with. So the protea flower is like the king of the flowers here in South Africa. So it's got the sense, it's almost like the South African lotus. So it's the sense of like 1,000 petals exploding out. It's a very hardy flower. It's able to survive because it's quite waxy, but it's very beautiful and it's very bold and it's long lasting. So the essence of that, the nectar of that, it's like when you drink this nectar, the taste of it is actually really sweet. You can almost live on it. But then making a remedy from that, it's like the sweetness of life. That's what it is that draws the bees or whatever to pollinate the proteas. But what I wanted there was the sweetness of life. Then I put in the Dyser orchid, which is a specific orchid that grows on top of Table Mountain, and I made this into a flower essence. Now, when you look at it, it's just this little kiss. It's this little blip of life, on top, bright pink. But really the sense of new life arising and becoming, as in that moment, just the joy of life itself. So there was that. And then I put in pine pollen, because pine pollen can be quite stimulating. So not stimulating like coffee, but like, it's good for standing up, standing tall, being strong. So it's the sense of like strength and embodiment, because obviously if we've got all this playful light, openness, we want to be strong in it to carry it into form, because if we don't carry it into form, then our creative endeavors never really come to form, and then what's the point anyway? So I wanted something which had some potency, some power to push it through. So that's why I put the pine pollen in, so that we're able to see our creative endeavors through to the end, because often we have an idea and it's like, oh, we never quite finish it. But this has got the potency to sustain it. And even the idea of like engaging with the person at the shop, it's like I'll just engage this. It's not going to go anywhere. It's 30 seconds of my time, a minute of my time. I'll engage them for what it's worth, and I'll enjoy the interaction, as will they, because I'll be quite engaged and animated, and then I'll move on. And just as we have this series of segments of life, that makes up a life. If we have maybe 30, 50, 60 of those in a day, that's a full day. We've had a full day of engagement. We can sort of pat ourselves on the back and say, it's a good day. I can go to sleep now knowing I've done what I needed to do. So then then I put in the Danvantari Mantra. Now, the Danvantari Mantra, Danvantari was the Hindu god of healing, right? So with this in there, it's saying to the system, saying to the body, I'm accessing this archetype of healing, I'm regenerating. I'm accessing the potential to heal myself, because obviously any disease process running in the body is going to limit one's creativity and limit one's ability to feel open and expanded, because obviously you're sick. So if we can engage this frequency on some level of this archetype of healing, Danvantari was supposed to have brought Ayurveda to the world. So he was the one responsible for that. So we're engaging this archetype of healing in order to allow us to feel better. So when we put all of this together, all of these ingredients together in a bottle, and we take it, we're actually sending a very strong message to ourselves of relentless positivity, optimism, expansion, childish playfulness, openness, and confidence. A lot of people who take this suddenly find life easier. People with social anxiety take it, and it's like, well, it's not such a big deal to appear in public and to deal with people, because they just find themselves talking to them. So obviously for people who have that as a concern, it's very valuable. But to some extent, everyone has small levels of social anxiety. Are they appearing the way they want to appear in that moment? But my experience with creation is, there's no sense of like a me, how am I seeing myself? It's just like, I'm there, I'm doing what I'm doing in that moment, and that's perfect. So the entire, like the whole self-consciousness, being conscious of a self, that almost disappears because we're so engaged. And in being so engaged, a lot gets done. Now, creation pairs very nicely with a few things. It's in the Pashmina cream, it's in the Lakshmi, immortality Lakshmi, and it goes very nicely with Vishnu. I would take Vishnu, immortality Vishnu, and creation every day. I took that for 3 months. I like that combination so much. And it was like, my day just rolled out there. The effortless manifestation of Vishnu, and then the mood of creation, works so beautifully. I've been taking it with Gaia as well, creation and golden spark. That's an amazing combination as well, because that's also saying, I'm getting younger, I'm feeling fantastic, and I'm playful while I'm doing it, as well as bringing everything back into alignment with the golden spiral. So this is really what we're doing with these remedies. We're programming water, we're setting in place feelings, moods, emotions, so that we can ingest them and the cells can be educated in these states. Now, obviously, I've cherry-picked these ingredients because I wanted the finest things known to man in there. And I wanted to create a very specific thing. It's like when we create a sculpture, we'll use hammers and chisels and, fine sandpaper to sand it, and like all sorts of things. And this is really what I've done. I've put a lot of things together to create this, and it really came out beautifully, creation. I mean, it's one of everyone's favorites for that reason. Now, whether the person's having a bad day, or the kid's a bit grumpy, or someone's been through a bad patch, if we can really tell them something different, then we can have an entirely different story. So yeah, there are many stories of people enjoying creation, but what I really wanted to express here is, just the mood of creation, what was being attempted, and what it can do for us when we take it, whether we take it continuously and turn it into it's almost like a way of living, and then the body learns it, or we take it on and off when we need it. The way I take it is like, I'll take it for a burst for a couple of weeks, and then I'll stop because it almost stops working because I'm already in that state. And then I start to drift out of that space a bit, and then I just remind myself, I just bring myself back with it. But the only thing that can happen if we take too much creation is we stop feeling it, because it's already there. It's like, if I'm in warm water and I pour more warm water on me, I'm not really going to feel it much. But if we're in cold water, we pour warm water on us, then we feel it again. So this is obviously how we can use creation. Now, it's safe for children. Haven't really tried on animals, because probably should, because they also deserve a good day. So yeah, so that's the essence of creation. So that's it for now. This is Adam from Beyond Medicine. Please subscribe for more information.